Hi everyone, Elliot here. This will be my very first Iceberg video and I really hope you enjoy the topics being discussed. If the video does well, I will make more in the future. Be sure to share your thoughts and opinions below in the comment section, and thank you for watching. Warning before we start, I might mispronounce some words and names, so bear with me. Without further ado, let's jump into the first layer of the Texas cryptids iceberg. The Chupacabra, or goat sucker, is a creature in the folklore of the Americas. The creature is reported being vampiric, attacking and drinking the blood of livestock, like cattle and goats, which the name goat sucker comes from, and Chupacabra being Spanish. There are a few regions this creature has been spotted in, like Puerto Rico, Central and South America, and Mexico. Descriptions of the Chupacabra may differ from region to region. In Puerto Rico, is generally as a heavy reptilian small bear-sized, with a row of spines from neck to base of the tail. In the southern United States, it's more dog-like. Sightings and descriptions first started in Puerto Rico in 1995. Since then, the creature has been seen and reported as far as Chile, Russia, and Philippines. All of the reports were thrown out due to lack of evidence. Well-known descriptions of the creature is of a strange breed of wild dog, being mostly hairless, protruding spinal ridge, and noticeable eye sockets, teeth, and claws. Some sightings have been verified as wild dogs with mange, a skin disease by parasite mites, causing the appearance of the dogs to be changed or altered, making them look more alien-like and otherworldly. Some people speculate that this creature is from another world that found its way to Earth somehow. Others believe it to be a result of secret genetic experiments from the Cold War. Sasquatch, also referred to as Bigfoot, is a tall, hairy-like creature said to inhabit forests in North America. Supporters of the subject offered different kinds of evidence like sightings, photographs, casts of footprints, video and audio recordings, and even hair samples. Unfortunately, most of the evidence has been identified as hoaxes. Stories of tall, hairy humanoids exist throughout the world, such as the skunk ape of the southeastern United States, the almas, yaren, and yeti in Asia, and the Australian yowie. Bigfoot is commonly described as large, muscular, and human-like creature, covered all over in black or dark brown hair. Its height is roughly 6 to 9 feet or 1.8 to 2.7 meters tall. Live Science, a science news webcast, states that there has been over 10,000 reported sightings of Bigfoot in the United States. The infamous Patterson-Gimlin film was shot back in 1967 and has been a hot topic of debate ever since. Some believe this footage to be the best evidence of Bigfoot's existence. The footage allegedly depicts a female Bigfoot looking over her right shoulder. The filmmakers were Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin. Their encounter goes as follows. In the early morning of Friday, 20th of October 1967, Patterson and Gimlin were riding on horseback along the east bank of Bluff Creek. Between 1:15 and 1:40 p.m., they stumbled upon an overturned, uprooted tree, roots the height of a room. As they went around it, they spotted a figure. The film shows what the two men claimed to have seen. Patterson said his horse reared when it sensed the figure. He got out his camera from a saddlebag and ran towards the figure, camera rolling. He yelled at Gimlin to get the gun out. Patterson ran after the creature, with Gimlin following him on horseback. The film, about 60 seconds long, was the result of Patterson stopping, falling to his knees as the creature glanced over its shoulder at the men with an expression of disgust. After glancing at the men, the creature disappeared behind a grove of trees and reappeared in the last 15 seconds of the film. It disappeared into the trees as the film reel ran out. Gimlin followed at a distance until it disappeared around a bend. Patterson called him back, feeling open to attack from the creature's mate. Patterson got his horse and they filmed the tracks with a second roll of film until they lost it in a heavy undergrowth. They went to the campsite, got plaster, and returned to the campsite, making 2 plaster casts of the footprints. Black-eyed children refers to paranormal creatures that resemble kids, ages between 6 and 16, having pale skin and black eyes. They are reportedly seen hitchhiking or begging, and can even be encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Tales of the black-eyed children seems to have existed since the 1980s, but most sources state that the legend originated from 1996 postings written by a Texas reporter named Brian Beffel on a ghost-related mailing list. 2 alleged encounters with these children were mentioned. 2 such children were encountered in 1996 in Texas, while someone else had an unrelated encounter in Portland, Oregon. The black-eyed children have inspired films and series delving deeper into this creepypasta known as the Black-Eyed Kids. Some believe these creatures are extraterrestrial, vampires, or ghosts. All stories of these creatures follow a similar path. Kids with jet black eyes appear at doors or cars, knocking, and they insist upon getting inside. Demonologists believe they are literally children of Satan, and if you let them in, you allow the devil to enter your life. On June 17, 2004, a giant pig known as Hogzilla was shot and killed by 51-year-old Chris Griffin on Ken Hollyoaks Fish Farm and Hunting Reserve in Alapaha, Georgia. It was a male hybrid of a wild hog and domestic pig. It was later revealed in March of 2005 that it was indeed real, weighing 800 pounds and between 6.9 and 8.6 feet long. Another big pig, known as Fred, was shot and killed by Jameson Stone, the 12-year-old boy. He shot the hog 9 times before killing it with a headshot. Big Bill, holding the title for largest pig ever, was put down in Jackson, Tennessee, after it broke a leg. It weighed 2,552 pounds. A movie titled Pig Hunt was made in 2008, starring a group of hunters being hunted and killed by a massive hogzilla with a hunger for human flesh. A skinwalker in Navajo culture is a type of witch who can turn into, possess, or camouflage themselves as an animal. Due to the reluctance to discuss the legend and topic of the skinwalker with outsiders, not much is understood about skinwalkers. Animals such as coyotes are usually associated with witchcraft, as well as other bad omen animals like cats, crows, and owls. Skinwalkers might possess and take bodily control of animals and even humans, whether that be male or female. Navajo children tell skinwalker stories among themselves. Stories of life and death, where either the skinwalker kills a Navajo person or the other way around, or stories where an encounter ends in a stalemate, where the skinwalker approaches a hogan and being scared away. In stories outside of Navajo culture, the protagonist typically encounters a skinwalker on a road where there is vulnerability, but escapes from a skinwalker, not typically seen in traditional Navajo stories. Skinwalker Ranch is a property owned by Robert Bigelow, situated southeast of Ballard, Utah. The name of the property is taken from the Skinwalker of Navajo legend. The site is known for strange paranormal occurrences like UFO sightings, mutilated cattle, and orbs. A TV series called The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch tells a story of scientists and experts looking for answers to what is happening at the property. La Llorona, also known as the Crying Woman or the Wailer, is a Mexican-based vengeful ghost story who roam near bodies of water like rivers or ponds, mourning the death of her children, which she caused by drowning them in a jealous rage because her husband was cheating on her. There is evidence that the law is pre-Hispanic and that it originated in the Central Highlands. The most common law includes her being an indigenous woman who bore children from a wealthy Spaniard. She later murdered her children after the man abandoned her and the children. Stories and documentation of La Llorona can be traced back to the 1550s in Mexico City, but theories are circulating that her story goes back further, being connected to specific Aztec mythological stories. The story of La Llorona is traditionally told and passed on throughout Mexico, Northern South America, and Central America. In 2019, a film titled The Curse of La Llorona was released, following a story about two kids being hunted by a La Llorona spirit. The jackalope is a mythical animal from North American folklore. It's described as a jackrabbit with antelope horns or antlers. Douglas Herrick and his brother made the American jackalope famous by adding deer antlers onto the head of a jackrabbit carcass using their taxidermy skills in the 1930s. They sold the combination to a local hotel in Douglas, Wyoming. They started making and selling jackalope taxidermy heads to a retail store in South Dakota, and another taxidermist took over and continued making their jackalopes in the 21st century. The jackalope has appeared everywhere, such as TV shows, video games, stories, and poems. It suggested that the stories of horned hares were inspired by sightings and reports of rabbits being infected with the cottontail rabbit papillomavirus, which causes horns or antler-like tumors or growths to form in various spots on a rabbit's head and body. The idea of jackalope goes back further, as far back as the 13th century. A Persian artwork piece portrays a rabbit with a horn, like that of a unicorn. The horned animal appeared in medieval and Renaissance stories in Bavaria, Europe. A deceased specimen was found recently, verifying that phantom alligators were in fact real. There is a story of a lakeside resident who had two alligators, and when they were too difficult to take care of, the person let them loose into the lake. Stories of people and dogs being hunted and killed by these alligators are floating around, but nothing has been proven as fact. Over the past few decades, 9 people have went missing at Lake Travis, never to be seen again. Many say that's normal. People tend to go missing, and that not everything should be blamed on the supernatural or animal predators. Legends and stories of black cats living in Texas have been told for generations now. In some Western tribes, seeing or hearing a panther is an evil omen. Reports of large black cats date back to the 1790s. Despite all of the sightings and reports, Texas Parks and the Wildlife Department disprove all of the reports by stating that these black cats don't exist. Pets have gone missing, and even livestock have been found hanging from trees. East Texas families back in Civil War times would close and bar their windows at night to try and keep out the large black cats. It is theorized that perhaps these people are misidentifying the animals. It might just be jaguars with menelism, or even black leopards. Of course, there are those who believe it could be something else entirely, perhaps an undiscovered or unconfirmed species. Maybe the numbers are so small and their human avoidance skills are so great that they cannot be recognized or believed until someone brings a dead or live one. In the early 1970s, an ape-like creature similar to Bigfoot was seen in the rural town of Fouke, Arkansas. Reports between 1971 and 1974 described it as being large, hairy, and about 7 feet tall. Some reported that a terrible odor was emanating from the creature, a combination of skunk and wet dog. The first half of its name was given due to the location it was spotted in, the town of Fouke. Reports of this creature goes back further than the 1900s, going all the way back to 1851. The creature first made local news in 1971 when it supposedly attacked Bobby and Elizabeth Ford's home on May 2nd, 1971. According to Elizabeth, the creature reached through a window while she was sleeping on a couch. Bobby and his brother Don chased the thing away, shooting it. They claimed to have hit it, but no blood was found. A search was conducted in the area with only 3-toed footprints being found, alongside scratch marks on the porch and damage to a window. A film was released in 1972 called The Legend of Boggy Creek by Charles B. Pierce. The ivory-billed woodpecker is possibly an extinct woodpecker, native to the bottomland hardwood forests in the United States and Cuba. The last known sighting of this bird was in Louisiana in 1944. Its preferred diet consists of beetles, acorns, hickory nuts, and wild grapes. Sightings in the 21st century points to the possibility that the bird might not be extinct, perhaps treading the line of being extinct. In 1998, a destructive wind with gusts of up to 170 miles per hour came out of nowhere as a surprise to ravage East Texas. Luckily, nobody was hurt or killed because a heavily forested part of the state was damaged. The wind carved a straight line path through 3 national forests over a 100-mile area, the equivalent to 161 kilometers. An estimated 4 million trees were blown down and destroyed in the same direction. Science speculates that the jet stream, which hangs at an altitude of 18,000 to 50,000 feet, roaring at speeds of 70 to 150 miles per hour, was pulled down out of its orbit. Marfa lights, also known as the Marfa ghost lights, are mysterious lights that appear, disappear, pulsate, break up, merge and move across the skies over a West Texas town called Marfa, where these lights got their name from. It's been a thing since the 1800s, and it's so famous that the Texas Department of Transportation built a viewing area along Highway 90, with the site hosting parking spots for cars, seating area for people, and even mounted binoculars. The first record of the lights was back in 1883, when it was seen by a young cowhand named Robert Reed Ellison. The first published story of the lights was in 1957 in an issue of Coronet magazine. Brian Dunning, an American writer and producer, theorizes that since the view park alongside Highway 90 is near Marfa Army Airfield, it's unlikely that strange lights in the sky wouldn't be seen and picked up by the airfield satellites. He believes the lights to be a mirage caused by sharp temperature gradients between cold and warm layers of air. A group of physics students investigated the area and its lights back in May 2004 and concluded that it's most likely car lights, since US Highway 67 is visible from the view park, and the frequency of lights seen correlates with the frequency of car lights on Highway 67. Some, however, still believe these lights are alien in origin. Also known as Goatman's Bridge, is an iron truss bridge built in 1884 to connect the city of Denton with Copper Canyon. It originally carried horses, but later on cars. The bridge gets its name from the abandoned community of Alton, which was the seat of Denton County between 1850 and 1856. The bridge carries several ghost lore stories. The bridge is said to be haunted by a half-goat, half-man figure called the Goatman. The story is based on the legend of a black goat farmer named Oscar Washburn. He moved with his family to a house north of the bridge. Washburn became very successful, being dubbed the Goatman. Many still saw black people becoming successful as bad. So in August of 1983, a hate group in the local government kidnapped Washburn and hung him with a noose around his neck on the bridge. They threw him over the side, and when they looked down to see if he died, he was gone. The noose was empty. They panicked and returned to his family, slaughtered his wife and children. The locals warned that if you cross the bridge at night without headlights, just as the hate group did, you will be met on the other side by the Goatman. Ghostly figures and lights are said to appear and disappear in the woods surrounding the bridge, as well as people claiming to be touched or grabbed on the bridge. Glen Rose is a small town just south of Fort Worth. Is the dinosaur capital of Texas. Dinosaurs are said to have roamed the area, with dinosaur tracks as proof. There are a few museums and places which display images of the dinosaurs, as well as sculptures. People in the South and West Texas reported seeing giant flying creatures, sometimes described as huge vulture or raptor-like birds, resembling the pterodactyl dinosaurs of prehistoric times. Some photographic evidence state that the sightings started around the 1800s, all the way into the 1950s. Two San Benito police officers reported seeing what is now known as the Texas Big Bird back in 1976. Another report was made around the same time by several school teachers who claimed they were dive-bombed by a creature with a wingspan of at least 12 feet in length. Other dinosaurs have been spotted too, such as river dino, also known as mini rexes, are dinosaurs said to walk only on its hind legs, standing about 3 feet tall, having arm-like appendages instead of forelegs. A Coloradan woman claimed to have seen the creature in early 1996, and it's fast, balancing perfectly on its hind legs. In 2001, a mother and daughter reported seeing a similar creature. They described it as having a long neck and skinny legs, looking like a bird, being some sort of cross between a dinosaur and a bird. The Lake Worth monster is a mythical creature in Texas folklore, said to haunt Lake Worth at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge just outside Fort Worth. The creature is described as part man, part goat, with scales and long clawed fingers. In July of 1969, sightings were reported by the locals, and the creature was described as half man, half goat, with fur and scales. One such report stated that the creature jumped out of a tree onto a man's car. The police investigated the area of Lake Worth and Rear Island, but found no proof that the creature exists. One reporter claimed that the stories of the Goatman was spread and told by children through summer camp stories. Reports of the monster stopped once school resumed, leading many to believe that it was pranks carried out by school children. A reporter at Fort Worth Star-Telegram, an American daily newspaper company, received an anonymous letter in 2005 from someone claiming to be one of 3 high school students who went out in the summer of 1969 to Lake Worth to scare some people in a tinfoil mask. The Almador Beast, a name given to a coyote blamed for several attacks on livestock in Almador, Texas. Some people think it's a Mexican hairless dog, a breed of hairless dog, whose appearance had been changed by sickness or other ailments. Some have linked it to the story of the Chupacabra, since it closely resembles it, while others think it's an experiment gone wrong. A strange canine was shot and killed back in August 2004 by a local rancher. The animal weighed about 20 pounds, had a visible overbite and a strange bluish hairless skin tone. Upon further investigation, it was determined to be a coyote with a skin disease, either being demodectic mange or sarcoptic mange. 2 more carcasses were found in Texas, but they were also found to be coyotes with mange. The Crocuta or Crocuta is a mythical dog-wolf hybrid animal of India, and is linked to the hyena. It has the body of a large dog and the head of a hyena, having cloven hooves, horse-like mane, and the tail of a lion. The color of its fur ranges from orange-yellow to brownish-black, and can sometimes include stripes or spots. The creature has the ability to mimic human speech, and this can be used to lure people to it, pretending to be in distress. They are most often found in areas where livestock like sheep and cattle roam, and they make their lairs in caves or abandoned buildings. They are believed to have animal-level intelligence, but the fact that they are said to mimic human speech suggests they have a form of telepathy, which they use to get personal with human victims, by calling their names or using private information to lure them in. Most sightings of this creature in the US have been in the western states, Texas, and Oklahoma. A cryptid known as Big Bird flew over Rio Grande Valley in South Texas in 1976. Most witnesses describe the creature as being about 5 feet tall, featherless, having a long beak, bat-like wings, and a monkey-like face. Some speculate it could be a jabiru, a large South American stork with a featherless face and black beak, which sometimes strays into Texas. January the 1st, 1976, Tracy Lawson and cousin Jackie Davies were playing outside when they saw the creature, having dark red eyes, a bald head, and a gorilla-like face. The father saw 3-toed tracks pressed into the ground the next day, proving to them that there was indeed something there the day before. The last sighting of this creature was on the 14th of January, 1976, in which Armando Grimaldo heard a sound like that of a bat's wings flapping. Out of nowhere, huge talons grabbed him and tore his shirt. The creature was described as having red eyes, a monkey-like face, but no beak. Bears are carnivorous mammals, which roam the state of Texas, more specifically black bears. 4 of the 16 subspecies of black bears once roamed the state of Texas. The late 19th century saw a drastic decline of bear populations in America, and by the beginning of the 20th century, they were considered rare throughout the state. A blue-headed black bear was spotted by a driver on the side of a British Columbian highway, having the appearance of a black bear, but a cobbled blue head. The coloration could be linked to a genetic condition known as partial melanism, which is known to cause cobalt blue discoloration in mammals. T.B. Baker, a famous hotelier, opened the Baker Hotel in the town of Mineral Wells, Texas in 1929. The hotel catered to the rich and the famous, and even cattle barons and oil tycoons. The building has 16 floors, over 460 rooms, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool, amongst many other luxuries. There are many stories of ghosts haunting the hotel, and one of them is a story about an elevator operator who died in 1948 in the hotel. His family reports that he liked to jump in the elevator while it was moving, and the elevator got stuck. His friends tried to get him out, but his body was cut in two at his waist. It's said that the ghost of his upper body is seen in the basement sometimes. The spirit of a maid is said to haunt the kitchen area, telling people to leave. Other paranormal activities include hearing a lady walking in high heels across the lobby floor, the smell of chocolate, and lights switching on and off in the old ballroom. There is evidence that deceased people were buried in the basement of the hotel, and the Baker Suite holds a hidden panel. The hotel closed for good in 1972. The haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas, has been around for almost 150 years now, and its history is covered in illegal activity, sorrow, and death. The building was constructed in 1880, and it originally belonged to a Mineral Wells family, then later turned into a makeshift hospital. Guided tours and overnight investigations are offered, and countless paranormal crews have documented proof of the supernatural. White Rock Lake is a lake situated in northeast Dallas, Texas, built in 1910 and completed in 1911. A well-known urban legend speaks of a lady who haunts White Rock Lake Park, described as wearing a water-soaked 1930s white evening dress. She usually appears at night along the roadside of East Lawford Drive. Reports claim that the ghost asks to be taken to her home on Gaston Avenue in Dallas, and during the ride she disappears, leaving a wet seat behind. The legend states that the lady is a drowning victim from a boat accident in the 1930s. The word Lechuza means owl in English. The Lechuza are shape-shifting witches or evil spirits in Hispanic folklore. Stories of the Lechuza are very popular in Mexico and Texas. The lore of the Lechuza is quite vast. Lechuza are women who have sold their souls to the devil to receive magical powers. When nighttime comes, they transform into monsters that have a bird's body and the face of a woman. They then fly through the sky looking for prey, usually being people. When she does find a target, she will sit and hide in a spot where she isn't easily seen, and she will make strange whistling noises or mimic the sound of a baby crying. As soon as the person comes out to check what is making the noises, she swoops down and grabs the person, flying off into the night with them. In another version, the Lechuza is a spirit of a witch who was murdered by the locals. Her spirit then returns in the form of a bird monster to get revenge. Other stories state that the Lechuza is a vengeful spirit of a lady who has returned from the grave to torture and hurt other people. In modern times, she is seen as a witch bird who swoops down at cars driving empty roads at night. The Lechuza has a few supernatural powers and abilities. She has the ability to summon storms like thunderstorms. She can shapeshift into bird monsters at night, and she can mimic the voices and sounds of people and babies. Some believe that if you hear the cry of the Lechuza, someone in your family or household will die, a trait very similar to that of a banshee. The Lechuza is believed to be immortal and can't be killed by weapons or bullets. There are ways of defending yourself against her though. For an example, using salt. Whenever you hear the cry of the lechuza, such as whistling noises or the cries of a baby, you should immediately begin cussing her out. This will drive her away from you. A NASA employee, Frank Shaw, encountered a bizarre monster in 1986 at Houston's Johnson Space Center. His daughter, Desiree, came forward with more information on the story after she noticed something was wrong with her dad. According to Shaw, he was walking up to his car after finishing his shift, and when he looked up, he saw a black gargoyle-like figure perched on the edge of the Space Center's building. The creature had a cape-type fabric covering its shoulders, with bat-like wings sticking out on either side. The creature then unfurled its wings, making crackling noises as it flew away. He tried to keep the story of the incident away from his supervisor, but after a few weeks he cracked and he came clean. The supervisor told him that he wasn't the first to encounter this creature, and that a file was opened a few months before Shaw's encounter, after the 2 mutilated corpses of the base's German Shepherd dogs were found. He was later cornered by NASA officials and told to not tell anyone else about this, if he knows what's good for him and his family. This is why Desiree, Shaw's daughter, decided to tell the story 18 years later. As of now, there has been no new public reports and sightings of this creature, and chances are high that this beast is still stalking the area, waiting to swoop down and strike fear into people. Residents of Sabine reported seeing a grey ape-like creature in the area forests in the year 2000. It is estimated that some of these sightings go back 30 years and they carry on into modern times. Greg Woolheater, a researcher for the Texas Bigfoot Research Center, and his group have recorded some noises in the area not belonging to known animals. The group found some hair while investigating the area and took it as samples to research and study. The results came back saying that it's from no known animal. The group even had encounters with the creature. Craig and his wife had his first encounter with this beast one night in the 1990s. The creature was on the side of the road, but they got a good look at it. They described it as being big, greyish, hairy and slightly slumped over. The Wampus cat, or whistling wampus, is a cat-like creature in American folklore. In Cherokee legends, the beast is the cat-like embodiment of a female onlooker cursed by tribal elders as punishment for witnessing a sacred ceremony, when she hid under the pelt of a mountain lion. As a hybrid of a mountain lion and a woman, it roams the wild, striking fear into the hearts of those who encounter it. In other versions of the story, the creature is a cursed woman who was involved with witchcraft. The killing of livestock in places like North Carolina were blamed on the Wampus cat back in the 1920s. The beast is said to have several abilities, and one of them is the ability to emit spine-chilling screams, which is used to ward off potential threats. The creature also possesses exceptional speed, agility and stealth, allowing it to not be detected while in the densest of forests. Legends speak of 2 more abilities, like shape-shifting and even becoming invisible. In the Harry Potter universe, the magic wands contains cores made up of enchanted materials and substances, and Wampus hair is one of the ingredients. A massive web was spun in the treetops of 200 yards of oak trees in Lake Tawakoni State Park back in 2007. More than 240 specimens and 12 families of spiders were found in the sprawling web. This phenomenon is known as sheet webbing, and it happens during heavy rain or flood events when social spiders come together and build communal nests. Long-jawed spiders had their share in the massive web. But they aren't social spiders, and they don't like interacting with other types of spiders. This event left many scientists baffled. Road 666 is a road in San Patricio County, Texas. At the side of the road sits the old San Patricio courthouse, where a lady named Chupita Rodriguez, the first ever woman to be hung in Texas, was sentenced and hung for a crime she never committed. She was taken to a grove of trees along a river behind the courthouse and hung from the tallest oak tree. She was buried in a coffin under the tree. She reportedly haunts the area of the grove. Residents of the Texas Hill Country knows all about the Beast of Bear Creek, believed to be an old Native American shaman with the ability to change his physical form from that of a human into that of a large wolf. He turns into this large wolf at night and hunts down the white men who killed off his tribe. He turns into this large wolf at night and hunts down the white men who killed off his tribe. And whatever livestock or random people come across his path will meet their end. The people of Kimball County believe in the story so much that there is an image of the beast in solid rock. The Beast of Bears is a scar-covered giant bear cryptid found in southern Texas, Florida, Virginia, and Arkansas. It is commonly seen near swamps and different areas in deep woods. It is speculated that because it lives near swamps, it has gills. The creature is described as having large red eyes, a very strong alcohol and rotten egg smell. The very first sighting of this creature occurred back in October 12, 1973, at a camping spot near the town of Alice, Texas, by a nature photographer, Philip Hyde Wall. Over 51 sightings of this creature has been made since then. May 1st, 2012 was the most recent sighting in a backyard outside of Crestview, Florida. There are indigenous stories about giant bears who drag people under the water, drown them and then eat them, although these stories have never been proven to be fact. The Bear King, also known as the Great Bear Man, is the name of a creature sighted in Marble Falls, Texas. It was reported that a local woman was abducted by this creature in 1901 before being shot and killed by hunters. A lady named Rami Arland was out tending to the sheep flock on the farm of her family. Some of the family members reported hearing a scream, followed by a roar of a panther. The mother grabbed a weapon and ran after the creature and the girl, but she didn't find any clues to where she is. They launched a search party for the night, but came up empty-handed. A local hunter found Rami the next day, wandering the woods several miles away. Rami later claimed that a bear man grabbed her and brought her to a cave in the mountains and hit her every time she tried to escape from him. She waited for the creature to fall asleep before she escaped and being found then by the hunter. A group of men tracked the beast down and found its cave, where they confronted it. It growled at them like a panther, and it beat its chest. The men were hesitant to shoot the beast, but they had to the moment it started charging at them. They killed it, and to this day, nobody knows what they did with the body. A local brewery was named Bear King in memory of the event. The howler, also known as the Ozark black howler, is a legendary creature moving around in the Ozarks, Missouri and Texas. The beast is said to be bear-like in shape. Stocky legs with a grey shaggy coat, glowing red eyes and horns. Its high-pitched call is a combination of a wolf's howl and an elk's bugle, and a laugh like that of a hyena. Many claim that the beast sounds like a woman screaming. An Arkansas television station received photographs of the supposed creature in 2015 from a viewer. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission claimed they didn't receive or hear of any sightings and said that the images that were sent in were a hoax. A call record from the fall of 2014 reports of a sighting of an unidentified mammal. A motorist nearby collided with the creature at 9:45 p.m. The earliest sightings of this mysterious beast can be traced all the way back to the 1800s. Cryptozoologists speculate that the creature is just a misidentified big cat. The story of the donkey lady is a legend from Bexar County near San Antonio, Texas. It has been described as being average adult female size. The only known sightings and reports were just misidentifications of domestic donkeys. One story says that she was a woman that burned so bad that after she healed, her hands fused into hoof-like appendages, and she had a melted, saggy face. One story speaks of her having a donkey pet, and when the donkey bit one of the neighbors, they took it away from her. They threw it into a river under a nearby bridge, and later her as well. Her half-human, half-donkey ghost is said to haunt the bridge, now named after her, Donkey Lady Bridge. The Donkey Lady Bridge was built in 1917, and it was used to cross Medina River and Applewhite Road. Locals claim to have sighted the Donkey Lady wailing. Donkey hoof prints were found, but it was later concluded to be a domestic donkey. El Cucuy, also known as Coco or Coca, is a ghost-like monster similar to the boogeyman. The Cucuy is a male being, and the Coca is a female being. The monster will come at night to the homes of disobedient children to take them away. It eats disobedient children, or it may even spirit the children away to a place they can't return from. In Spain and Latin America, the parents invoke the names of the monster as a way to discourage their children from being naughty. They sing songs or rhymes warning the young ones that if they don't stop being naughty, the El Coco will come take and eat them. It waits on rooftops in the shape of a dark shadow, looking for kids who are naughty. One Eye is possibly a plesiosaurus-type monster, said to inhabit the waters of Lake Granbury in Texas. Some believe it might be some sort of giant eel or mutant monster octopus. Mountain boomers are bipedal reptiles which haunts and roams the forests and roadsides of West Texas. The name comes from the monstrous sounds these creatures make when they bellow out from the distant canyons. The creature is described as having a greenish, brown or dusty color and small forelimbs. There was a sighting in the early 1970s by an individual who said the lizard was between 5 to 6 feet tall, eating roadkill and running with its long tail straight out behind it. Another sighting in 1993 tells the story of a family who saw a mountain boomer while driving through Texas on their way to California. They said the creature was huge and it looked like something out of Jurassic Park. The town of Honey Grove sits in north-central Texas. Something very strange happened one night in 1984. A 55-year-old woman was awakened by her dog's barking. She heard a twig break near a window, so she got up and went to the front door. She thought one of her daughter's pony was loose. When she looked towards the street, she saw a 7 feet tall grey-colored lizard walking under the street light. The lizard man is reported to be large in size, fully bipedal, and can be aggressive towards those who encounter it. A sighting from the 29th of June, 1988 is the most famous. The car tire of Christopher Davis went flat one night after work on a road by Scape Ore Swamp in Lee County, South Carolina. He heard a noise behind him after he changed the tire, and when he turned around, he saw a 7 feet tall lizard creature running towards him. He got into the car and tried to drive off, but the creature jumped onto the roof, holding on with its claws as Davis sped down the road. There has been several more reports of the lizard man in the 80s, but most of them were chalked up as hoaxes or stories from people who were mentally unstable. The Houston Batman, also known as the Houston Horror, is a mysterious creature with bat-like wings, surrounded by eerie glowing haze, sighted on the 18th of June 1953. Hilda Walker and her neighbors, Judy Mayers and Howard Phillips, saw a man with wings like that of a bat sitting on a tree branch in a nearby tree. The creature disappeared a few moments later when there was a UFO light display. People have reported being attacked by the Batman, although some can be explained away by a common criminal. There's another report of a creature that hid on a roof of a downtown city building late one night in the 1990s. Dominic's pseudo-goat, also known as the rose-horned clawed goat, was a cryptid reported from the United States only once. In the 1850s, Abbé Emmanuel Dominic reported that the town of Fredericksburg in Texas was visited by an Indian woman. She owned a goat-like animal the size of a cat, having rose-colored horns. Its fur was glossy and white as snow, and instead of having hooves like that of a goat, it had claws. 2 people tried to buy the animal from her, but she declined the offer, saying she found woods where this animal is found in abundance of, and if she ever returned, she promises to catch some for those 2 people. Dr. Carl Schuker, a British zoologist and writer, noted that combining the horns and claws features, the animal resembles a supposed extinct pterodactyl. Texas stilt walkers, also referred to as striders, are massive cryptids reported in Texas. Reports of striders started online around 2008. They are described as being big, having long stick-thin legs, which can easily reach over trees and houses. The head is something described as being dog-like and is easily recognized due to 2 piercing headlamp-like eyes. In one report, the strider was seen scaling a vertical cliff like a giant spider climbing up a wall. Some suggest that the creature isn't entirely made up of flesh and blood, and it might have a supernatural Biofortean aspect to it. Many regard the stilt walker as evil, whose appearance signals death. All of the eyewitness accounts had peaceful interactions, with the creature just passing by, showing no signs of aggression. A sighting from 2013 reported a stilt walker on a ranch. 2 people were walking around on the property with 2 dogs without their leashes. They walked through a cow pasture towards a gate in a barbed wire fence, which was about 4 feet tall, separating the ranch from the wooded area. They started walking along the fence when the 2 dogs ahead of them turned around and barked in their direction. The 2 people turned around and saw a giant black or brown fur-covered creature with long legs. The thing was staring at them as the dogs continued to bark. As the dogs ran towards the creature, it buckled its legs to bring its head to the ground, and it made a massive snorting noise. The dogs immediately ran away. One of the witnesses said the dogs yelped like they were hurt when the creature made the snorting noise. More reports were made in 2014, 2016, and 2013. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more Iceberg videos in the future and other random scary stories, scare the like button, share with friends and family, and subscribe to soothe that fascination.